Well, I'm not sure what you did for your Christmas, if you took, to spend time with your family, if you went out to dinner, if you did some kind of a big celebration at home or at somebody else's house. Did you listen to any news this weekend? Are you aware of some of the things that happened? Let me give you a fill-in, not based on mainstream North American media sources, but based on some international sources like TASS, like Reuters, like the BBC. For instance, did you know that a Tu-154 military plane, a Russian plane that took off in the Black Sea, crashed immediately after takeoff? All 92 on the Syrian-bound military jet were killed in the crash, including 60 who were from the Red Army Choir. Now, almost as soon as that happened, a group called Rinska took to social media, Facebook, and basically mocked the dead. And so there's been a reaction by a group called Agitpolk calling Rinska to account for their mockery of the dead. Also, President Putin has declared today, December 26th, the day of national mourning for those Tu-154 crash victims. Did you hear about the hijacking that happened on Friday? Libyan hijackers took a plane. It landed in Malta. They released the passengers, but they kept the crew and have demanded political asylum in the EU. As of my last report that I saw, that standoff was still going on. Did you know that a German town got evacuated on Christmas Day? Yeah, Augsburg, they found a World War II bomb, like 1.8-ton British bomb that didn't go off back in 1944. They found it during construction. They're like, oh, wow. And I think they found it on Tuesday. They didn't evacuate people until Sunday. And then they defused it on Christmas Day. Now, if I'm digging around and I find a bomb, obviously I'm not going to want to defuse it like immediately. I want somebody who knows what they're doing to come in and take care of it for me. But waiting that long, I don't know, just maybe it made sense to them. But I think that is the biggest, 50,000 people, the biggest evacuation they've had for a bomb since World War II in Germany. Now, meanwhile, the Pravda report makes note of how terror is paralyzing Europe and suggests that Russia can help. Also, if you heard the Pope's Christmas message, basically in a world that's been racked by terrorism and war, he's calling for peace. No big surprise there. Also, the Israeli Prime Minister, Netanyahu, angered by the vote that was taken in the EU in the UN on Friday, summoned the U.S. ambassador and all of the other nations who have representatives in Israel who voted against Israel for a formal reprimand on Sunday, which is it's a normal work day in Israel, but normally the embassies are closed. It's unusual to call in an ambassador on a Sunday. Even more unusual to call them in on Christmas Day. Donald Trump has announced plans to shut down his charitable foundation, which has been under scrutiny now for months. And I don't know if you heard about the blizzard conditions. Most of the United States had a very white Christmas, but very dangerous Christmas. And saying travel was dangerous, if not impossible, for much of the United States yesterday. There was also an earthquake, 7.6 magnitude in Chile yesterday morning. 5,000 people evacuated the coast, and then after a couple hours they said there's no worry, you can go back to your house. And lastly, another interesting story from Pravda on how a group of U.S. politicians is asking Donald Trump to continue the investigation to go after Hillary Clinton. Now, it's interesting to me because so many people fully expected that all of the rhetoric being used during the lead up to the election in November was precisely that, simply rhetoric. To see some of them continuing to push to go after criminal charges against Clinton, it's interesting to me because, I mean, at what point do you go back and do criminal charges against Obama? Do you go back and do criminal charges against Bush? How about Clinton the first? How about Bush the first? How about Reagan? I mean, at some point, people will be held to account. May not be in this lifetime, but hey, so it goes. That's a look at our national and international news today. If you look around here, you will find a link to my Alaska news. And my commentary today has to do with Christmas. A lot of folks celebrating yesterday, and you'll hear my take on it. If you like what I'm doing, please be a supporter by either buying a subscription at my website directly, radiofreespeech.com, or by becoming a patron at Patreon. You'll find the links here. And, of course, tell all your friends, radiofreespeech.com. Thanks.